Night presses low over blue-glazed walls as the river wind climbs the palace stairs and bows the flames. Rain beads on lion tiles and runs in thin black threads, as if ink fleeing a decree no hand can recall. Clouds drag dark sails over the roofline. The city holds a single breath, its lungs the width of Babylon. Lightning scars the purple sky. The throne flashes once, then cools like wet iron laid aside by a weary smith. Somewhere a door thumps, a dog whines and is quiet. Even the river swallows its own voice and waits. A voice parts the velvet night.
The kingdom departs from you.
The words fall heavy as iron and light as ash, drifting while they strike, bruising while they clarify. Knees loosen, rings slip, banners whip north. The plaza tilts, though no wall has moved. This is not the beginning. This is the weather breaking over a life, the summer that discovers it has already turned. Herald,
the kingdom departs from you. Hear what was counted and delayed, but not denied.
At sunrise, mist lifts from the Euphrates. Gold slides along ripples like warm oil, finding every seam. The Ishtar Gate glows cobalt. Stone lions step forever, paws raised into a stride that never tires. Terraced gardens spill silver water. Fig and cypress trade shade with the wind. Every leaf a small green lamp. Spice smoke and bread steam drift through cool colonnades that still remember night in their stone. Barges push against the current. Oars tap a heartbeat. Gulls annotate the margins of light. Stalls shrug their covers. Clay cups clink. A single bell is brave enough for 2 notes. From a wind-brushed balcony, he surveys a world that mirrors his face and multiplies his name. Tiles run like a river beneath his feet. Canals stitch the city. The horizon agrees with everything he thinks. Pride swells like a noon sun over desert fault and never asks for clouds. Glory is generous light. Kept too long on one face, it becomes a blade. When dazzling blinds, we forget the dust underfoot and the hands that shaped the brick. Nebuchadnezzar.
I built this.
Midnight thins. Roof tiles sweat dew. Crickets stitch darkness into one long thread that binds the city to sleep. A great tree rises in the mind, roots sunk in black loam, crown brushing heaven's cold edge. Beneath its shade, fields cool, birds nest, beasts kneel, even the wind behaves. Sap climbs like a lit column. The world borrows rest and pays in gratitude. Then a watcher descends like a pale pillar in fog, bright without heat, final without anger.
Cut the tree. Leave the stump bound with iron until it remembers its roots and the rain.
Threads no eye can see snap. Leaves unhook themselves. A green snow with no winter and no sound. He wakes to a racing heart, to coals breathing in a brazier, to walls that hold his name too tightly. Dreams knock. They never break doors. Opening belongs to the waking. Listening belongs to the willing. A bowl trembles in his hands. A droplet leaps and flees. His steadiness is a question with no quick answer. Morning glides along stone. Dust motes wheel like slow snow through a bar of light across a table. Lamp smoke hangs blue. Wax remembers the ring that pressed it and the warmth of command. Far below, cartwheels hiss. A bell measures the hour. The city steps into itself.
The tree is you.
His voice is rain on clay, gentle, precise, impossible to argue with. You will be driven from men. Your reason will depart. The fields will learn your name. But the stump remains. Mercy has not left. The ground keeps a place open for your return. Break off your sins by practicing righteousness. Show mercy to the poor. Let bread cross your threshold. A wooden bridge is offered across a ravine of pride, not carved, not painted, simply strong. He nods toward the river, where small boats choose honest currents over fast ones that lie. A nod is not obedience. Hearing is not doing. Evening will reveal which it was. 12 months pass like footfalls through cool corridors, always turning the same corner, surprised to be there again. Banquets glow. Laughter polishes itself. Wine forgets humility. New walls climb. Mortar whitens under noon. Standards breathe proud wind they did not invite and cannot keep. Scribes tally victories. Courtiers trade praise like coins that buy nothing in morning light. A finger signs a name across the sky. The birds have the better claim.
I built this.
Excellence and arrogance share a door. Open it often enough, and the hinges forget the difference. Mercy waits on the threshold, like shade on the far side of noon. It counts not to condemn, but to keep time. Servants whisper wheat prices. Beggars map the doors that still open. Children learn to read faces before letters. If a man will not bow to mercy, he will bow to something else. Time, loss, rain writing sermons on stone. I built this. The river obeys its banks because I gave it walls. The river remembers other kings and smiles where it can. Evening stacks in bronze layers. Swallows write black commas that never land. Weather composes a warning. Wind scours courtyards, shakes torchlight into sparks that rise and die like quick boasts. When justice speaks, it needs few words. Economy is the courtesy of truth. The speech was made already through 12 patient turns of moon and market and faces at the gate.
The kingdom departs from you.
The plaza hears first, then walls, then the river, then the night turns its face. A ring ticks stone in thunder's after silence, a small sound teaching stillness how to listen. The crown rides lower. Even dogs pause mid-snarl and reconsider. No hand lifts his burden, yet the burden is gone like heat after rain. Only the cloak grows heavy with a steady shower. Edges darken, fibers drink. Weight declares itself without anger. Fowls look for a home and cannot find one. Steam leaves his mouth and vanishes.
What leaves tonight leaves with mercy's signature and justice's seal.
No blade, no bruise, only the slow surrender of grip on bright things never owned. The royal cloak slumps like wet hillside clay sliding toward a patient stream. His shadow warps on slick flagstones. The outline forgets who commands it and chooses the nearest drain. Bare feet meet grass, beaded with the day's last rain. Soil receives without counsel or complaint. Water stitches bright beads along a frayed hem, hemming him into truth with a needle made of weather. When we make ourselves gods, we misplace ourselves among animals and reeds and call it an upgrade. No iron binds him. Compliments are enough, chain. They do not clink, but they hold. How heavy is pride? Ask the ground that keeps a man till morning and never speaks of it. He hears the river naming what it will not keep. Boat, leaf, rumor, crown. Silence grows ribs and stands beside him like a patient friend. He becomes fluent in its grammar. Seasons turn their wheel above the same stone step. Moss keeps count better than hurried scribes. Dawn hangs cold breath. Midsummer presses heat. Dry leaves skitter at dusk. Fog settles by the river like a cat. Nights lengthen without words. Days shorten without shade. Time learns to walk barefoot through the court. Workers speak softly of bread and wages. Children chase a hoop. Gossip passes like a pitcher no one claims. Footprints go out and return, smudged by dew, searching for a name for the path that refuses to end. 7 times do not teach many lessons. They teach one lesson many ways: humility. They shrink a man back to weathered size, nearer the ground, nearer breath, nearer truth. Daniel passes once in the distance. He does not call. Mercy keeps step with him anyway. Crows tilt on parapets and argue with the wind. Their theology is simple and correct. Everything returns. Grass thickens and cracks. Rain polishes stone. Patience sets another cup, though no one sits. First light threads a pale seam across his lashes. Air tastes of clay, barley, and the river's iron. The spine rises as if lifted by a gentle hand. Joints confess and forgive one another.
I lifted my eyes to heaven.
No spectacle, only the gravity of truth at daybreak when streets keep dew like promises.
I am human.
The admission fits like water. Breath returns like a guest who forgives the late door. Reason comes back as an old friend who taps and waits. The latch remembers how to work. Some doors open only when knees find ground that holds night's cool and day's promise. A lark throws a silver thread into the sky. Awnings snap awake. A girl laughs like payment has cleared. If breath returns, let it serve. If a crown returns, let it sit lightly. If a name remains, let it be useful. A clean blade parts the tangled months from his hair. Water runs clear from a clay bowl and down a quiet drain. Oil warms between palms and smooths the furrows time left. The face remembers its edges and origin. A new robe settles, lighter than yesterday's soaked cloak. Dignity knocks softly and is let in. The crown returns as evening gold leans long across the square, and windows pass light like news. Officials take their marks. Ledgers open. The herald clears his throat. A boy hushes a dog with a practiced whistle. Footsteps learn their pattern. Hallways recall how to carry them without echoing pride. Human glory is borrowed sunlight on stone. It looks best when the sun is rightly named and the stone does not pretend. Herald, offices restored, accounts reopened, mercy recorded first, justice balanced on the next line. A window sips the day's last gold. The plaza becomes a shallow bowl of honeyed dusk. A child laughs. Sandals answer with the soft applause that belongs to peace.
Those who walk in pride, he is able to humble. All his ways are justice.
True sentences carry their own lantern. They need no trumpets. They simply arrive. Applause rises and fins like wind across reeds that bend, but do not break. A straight road opens from ear to heart when words stop performing and start obeying. They change the tilt of a gaze, the pace of a breath, the size of a giving hand. He is lighter than yesterday, not because the throne sits higher, but because the heart sits lower.
Let my words weigh less than deeds and more than smoke. Let the poor bless, not fear, my name.
Old enemies looked down, then up, unsure which way forgiveness faces. The air proves fair. Justice wears no jewels tonight, only clean hands. Mercy ties back her hair and sets more places. On the old balcony, the evening wind returns, smelling of water, dust, and bread cooling on racks. His gaze moves past tiles and walls to a sky that needs no architecture and grants none a lease longer than breath. No one is too high to be brought low by seasons and truth. No tower stands taller than time's quiet shoulder. No one is too low to be lifted by a hand that never sleeps or loses count of days. Mercy arrived early and waited 12 months at the door. She did not pace. Pride arrived late and charged full price at the counter of time. The receipt is long and printed on vanishing ink. If you hear the knock, open before the storm finishes its sermon. Bowing to mercy is the only way to stand tall when weather changes and flags forget which way to face. He traces the river's bend and finds humility written in water that shapes stone by patience alone. He smiles the size of a man, not the size of a wall. The city answers with 10,000 small, decent acts. This is not only a king's story. It is a map for any heart that loves mirrors more than windows. If this warmed you, warm a stranger and leave no name. Pass the flame without pointing it at yourself. Carry this tale like a lamp trimmed for weather. Keep the glass clean and the fire honest. Throw enough light for 2 sets of feet. Next comes the man who ran from his calling while the sea learned his name. The boat was small, the lesson was not. Grace arrives on time even when no one else does. It knows every harbor by heart. Until then, leave a window unlatched for the weather of mercy. Let the room breathe. Practice the welcome that does not interrogate. We will meet in the next episode. Bring the heart that listens and the hands that are ready. The rest will be provided.